Hola, hola, Maria-Ines here. I've had this conversation in the past few weeks repeatedly, and I want to help you avoid this problem. So if you have hired a photographer for your brand photography, for your website photography, listen up because this video will help you a lot to avoid the pitfalls of not really loving your images at the end of the day. I've had this conversation in the last few weeks where it goes something like this. Oh, we eventually end up talking about photography because, that's part of what I do, etc., etc. And for the most part, I would say 60 to 70% of the conversations have ended up with them telling me, well, I hired a photographer because I knew photography was important for me and my brand. I know that elevates my brand, etc., etc. But honestly, I just really don't love my images. And that breaks my heart. One, because I understand that brand photography is an investment. It totally is. But I do think it is an investment for your business. So you should definitely do it. I'm not trying to discourage you to do it. What I'm trying to help you here is to realize that there are a few things that you can do to make sure that the photography, the results that you get are what you're expecting, right? And I'm not necessarily only talking about whether you like the pictures or not. And that's whole story, whether you feel comfortable with the results in the sense of like, I don't like how I look on camera. Believe me, I went through it when I was recording videos. It's a matter of getting used to yourself, but that's a whole other story. What I'm talking about today is the things that you have to make sure that you do or that you set in place for it to not be a surprise. That's something that I really feel strongly about because, for example, when clients work with me, a brand strategy or the brand identity shouldn't be a surprise. It should look beautiful, it should be unexpected, but it shouldn't be a surprise in the sense of like, why did you pick those colors for me? Like that just doesn't speak to me, or etc., etc. That should not be a surprise for you. And the reason number one, this should not be a surprise for you is because after you have worked on your brand strategy, right? You have a plan, you understand clearly what your mission, vision, your clients, what you're trying to convey, what feeling you're trying to put out there, right? For the people you're trying to attract. Once that's all done, you have the tools to be your own creative director for your brand. And that doesn't mean that you have to do everything in your brand. By all means, that's not what I'm saying, because the whole point of having a strategy and a brand identity is that you can easily delegate this to somebody else, right? But what's important here is that every creative decision comes from an informed strategy that you have created for your brand. That is number one. Number two, people hire a photographer either because, they were friends, they were family, or they were recommended by somebody else. And then they just show up the day of, and there's really no rapport on with the photographer. So this is very important. Create, if not a relationship because there's no time, although I think that it should be really important. If you can create a relationship with a photographer, that's even better. But if you can, just at least invite them to have a coffee if they're in the same place, or even a cyber coffee, or just talk to them a couple of times to sort of get a little bit of their vibe, their personality, their anything that can help you also feel comfortable the day of the shooting. Because I had it back in the days when I was shooting, I would also show up the day of, and there's always the awkwardness of getting to know each other. And if you can get that out of the way and build a nice rapport with the photographer, you're going to feel so much more comfortable when the day of the shooting comes. And believe me, some of the best images I have of my clients are towards the end, because that's when, they have seen like my silliness, my, hey, look at me, and then they feel at the end, they're like, this is a nice woman, she knows what she's doing, and I feel fine. So if you can remove that initial awkwardness by building a little bit of a relationship with the photographer, then that will make that much more of an impact in your results that you will achieve in the end. And finally, number three, and this is super important, and it goes back to number one, being your creative director, is don't leave things to chance or to the experience of the photographer. Because again, maybe you, as I said, maybe you were recommended to a cousin or to a family member of a friend of yours, or is a family member of yours. And I'm not saying that they don't have the experience or, they don't make beautiful photography, but that leaving things to chance may leave you again with the sour taste in the end that this is not what I expected. So what do I mean by this? Two things. One, again, talk to the photographer, but this also from a more tactical, strategic point of view. So talk to them about, okay, these are the shots I need. Like, absolutely, this is my wish list, if not a must list. And then you yourself has to be clear on where things are going to go, what plans you have ahead of time. Like, are you launching something? Are you creating a month worth of content for your social media, etc., etc.? You need to be very clear on what you are going to need your photography for. That way you can tell the photographer, these are the things that I would need. And that way you both are on the same page, and you can ensure that the results that you're going to get are what you expected. So there's no surprises neither for the photographer or for you who is paying for the services. So I hope this was helpful. Let me know what your experiences with brand photographers or photographer has been, and any tips that has worked for you would be wonderful so we can share with other people and help each other just really achieve that beautiful, amazing, impactful imagery for your brand that really will make your brand just that much more amazing. All right, see you later. Bye. Do you feel overwhelmed by all things branding? Do you feel like you're competing in a sea of sameness? Do you feel like you cannot compete on prices anymore because you cannot lower your prices anymore? Do you feel like you're attracting the wrong kind of people? And ultimately, do you just feel tired and uninspired in your business? The problem is that you're lacking clarity. Clarity to understand how is it that you can create a brand by just being you. And by just being you, you will be attracting the right type of people. The people that would love to work with you and only with you. Download my branding map. It's an epic 22-page guide that will help you get started on understanding where you are, where your gaps are, and where you can go to build that brand that will just remove the competition and ultimately elevate your brand.